Award for Success Express, your business, career, and financial radio magazine. Hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Ralph-Masengill Jr., we call him Mr. Change Agent, is back on Big Blend Radio's Success Express show today to share some advice on decision-making during a time of change, especially in a group setting. You gotta inform yourselves. That's the whole thing. So he's joining us to talk about that. And also, Ralph is a best-selling author and an award-winning advisor. He's a coach, a marketing expert, and his latest book is a must-read book. It's called Conquer Change and Win, an easy-to-read, fun book on the serious subject of change. Ralph is also a Big Blend expert contributor. You can see his articles and listen to his past interviews. There's always something to laugh with or laugh about with him. Go to blendradioandtv.com. But most importantly, go to conquerchangeandwin.com and get his book. And you can get on Amazon, all those great places. So welcome back, Mr. Change Agent. How are you?
I am terrific. As I said, it's 35 degrees here and snowing, but it's warm inside.
See, there it is. You got the fireplace. You got warmth, And out here in Tucson, we got, the sun is shining brightly, very, very brightly. But this temperature change is good. A little snow is good, Ralph, because it brings water to your area. So that's a good thing, isn't it? Have extra.
Well, it is.
Okay.
It is. I'm just. If you had any idea how much I enjoyed complaining, you'd tolerate it better.
Okay. Well, now it's time to make a change. Okay. So
let's do that.
Yeah, this article of yours is decision making during a time of change. Everyone, you can see it up on blendradioandtv.com. It's also going to be featured in the summer issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, so that you can look forward to sunshine. But this decision making, when things, we always talk about the importance of change. So making decisions, that's just as important, because some people will say, oh, I'm not going to make a decision on that right now, and sometimes that can, fate can do something for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, the key to this whole thing is making a decision anytime is serious business, and many take it lightly. But the real key to this is when you're going through change, which means you're going through some form of pain, and that causes anxiety, stress, or fear. You really need to be careful with your decision making and go by the suggested rules, and you will do a much better job. Sometimes we get so involved with this problem we all have of fear of change that the change of fear just exacerbates the whole change situation.
Wow. When you think about it, so all of this is running on fear if you don't grab the bull by the horns.
Or maybe somebody's a little hot-headed and makes a change without thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh,
well, again, that happens to all of us, and it is what you think it is. It's a lack of patience, but it's also a lack of judgment, good judgment. And that's the key, is when in doubt, say nothing.
And inform yourself. Isn't that part of this?
Absolutely.
Is to start so you can make an informed decision. It's just like when you are going to make a change in business, you need to inform yourself before you just jump into change. So that is that you have to know, is this a viable thing? Is that market there? Is it gone? Because things change all the time in business and technology. We are definitely in a world of change. There's no doubt about it. This is, it turned on the news and there's like 20 changes in 1 hour.
That's true. And the key to this whole thing is understanding change. We cannot stop change. It is consistent consistent. It's going on 24 hours a day. And because we consistently go through it, you would think we would have a better understanding of that phenomenon. But 90% of the people truly don't have a clue about change.
And then when it comes to decisions, there's a fear factor, as you were saying, but also in your article you talk about, looking at why you're making a decision, why you're leaning some way. And it's funny, we were just having a picnic lunch with a friend of ours, and she turns, she lived in South Africa like we did, so we've got this, we're kind of, I would put it
similar sense of humor.
Yeah, similar sense of humor and pretty straight up. And she just says, the problem with some women, but basically she says, people make too many decisions based on emotion, not based on knowledge. And she said there's this emotional reaction. Oh, I really want this, so I'm just going to decide to do this without thinking about the consequences and should you do this or not. But it's from this emotional basis. Do you think that's happening a lot in business too?
Well, it is. People don't understand that emotions are a major factor, in every business decision. We all have positives and negatives as we deal with our business partners, folks, and customers. And there are times when change is truly necessary, and we make a decision to, and I always love this, do nothing. And of course, when we do that, we have made a major change.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Think about it.
I would rather channel the change so I get the outcome I want than sit back and just let it happen.
Yeah,
I don't like that. That makes me nervous, just letting things happen without...
That's the proper way to start. And the other thing that many folks do is, besides making it based on their feelings, and you need to use your intuition. Don't ever let that feeling in your gut go away. It is important, but you need to have facts to back it up. Don't make decisions without any evidence of it being, and here's the key, necessary. I submit that over 30% of all decisions that have been made or that are now being considered do not need to be made.
That's interesting. And do you think that, okay, so there's the emotional side, and then looking at, okay, not having enough information. I think people sometimes when it's a decision, they'll take so long and it becomes this procrastination thing that goes on. But I feel like if you, in business, you should be constantly educating yourself in your field. And it should be looking at anything new that can happen, anything that can change on the negative, because, one day there was MySpace, the next day that's gone, and now there's Facebook, and we don't know what's going to happen there. But, these kinds of changes happen in business, but you should always have your finger on the pulse of, and look beyond change happening in a few months or where is it going, but look even further beyond. And so when you have to make a decision, you can make a decision fairly quickly and get on with it.
Well, you can, but we need to also be aware of what you're alluding to, and I think you're absolutely correct, that what is this decision going to do to my situation, business, family, whatever it is, 2 years down the road? Most folks don't think far enough ahead.
Yeah, but that's, to me, part of being diligent and understanding so you can handle things. You talk about in your article, you talk about committees and groups, whether it's a business board or a nonprofit organization, these groups coming together. Nancy and I have sat on a number of boards, and we tend not to do it because it's annoying now. Like our patience doesn't handle it very well.
I understand that. I really do understand that.
A lot of people end up on boards out of ego, out of promoting their business, which is fine, but there's like a ego thing, or they're not doing with integrity. And so when decisions do need to be made and things do need to be done, because action needs to happen, not just sit there and have a meeting over and over again. I can't stand that either. Something has to happen. And a lot of times things get messed up because those people aren't informed and they're there just to put a bum in a chair.
Well, I resemble that remark, and
I like saying bum in a chair, but you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful organizations and wonderful boards.
No,
and,
but you're
and
so
committees.
right. You could not be more correct. And
yeah.
The thing that people have a tendency to believe, and when you think about this premise, it makes absolutely no sense. People tend to believe that everybody has a vote and each vote is equal. Nothing could be further from the truth. All votes should not have the same weight, but they do in a committee.
Yeah, and that is kind of crazy when you think about it. I mean, if half of the people don't even, don't make all the meetings, don't know what the project's about, haven't really read what's in front of them, but they're going to vote anyway, then it would be better if they didn't vote, even though they have a vote.
And let's just say, for example, that I was a political appointee and I come to these meetings because I get paid $500 a meeting. And you come to the meeting, Lisa, because you are trained and have a doctoral degree in the subject we're discussing. And my vote cost the whole situation as much as yours does. And I said cost on my side of the ledger.
The cost part. It costs everybody. Bad decisions cost.
Oh, sometimes it takes years to recover from them.
And some never do.
Yeah.
It is serious, a very serious subject, and I think it's important that we understand that all decisions are not equal, and that all decision makers are not even.
Yeah.
And we have a tendency to believe that, well, the committee voted 4-5. So that's the way we're going to go. Does that really make sense?
Yeah. See, I remember being in a tourism, doing a seminar. In fact, we weren't even doing seminars. It just happened because they needed us to sort people out. Anyway, so we went. There was
honesty is always the best policy.
Well, we're good at that. But and you can identify with this, where you're based, having gone through fires last year, and this area just it really got hurt financially, obviously personally too, because of wildfires. It's an emotional thing too. But their area went through a wildfire in a national park unit. The Gateway community, was just horrified, and we did a show to talk about, hey, they're open. And I remember doing a radio show, and one of the ladies was like, you got to come see our moonscape. And when we went there, you couldn't see anything unless you went investigating to see where the fire was. And it really didn't have to hurt tourism at all if you did it right and told people, yes, we're here, this is what we have, and focus on that. So this guy is like the main honcho of the board and has nothing to do with tourism, nothing, zip, zada, nada. And his whole thing, and because he's the man of the board, he wants to promote that everybody comes out to see the wildfire area, the burned area, and to see then the wildflowers. So wildfires to wildflowers that people can't even say. And this is their whole thing. So now he's putting the word wildfire out everywhere. If you're in the world of lodging, you don't want to say those words. Anyway, so he goes off, and of course we like in the seminar, I had to explain why you don't do that. But that was this example of this board had pretty much 3/4 that is a tourism board. 3/4 of them were not in the tourism world. And so I go,
that's kind of like me showing you my scar from my operation.
Yeah.
Why do you need to see it? Why do you need to hear about it?
Well, do you want to see mine?
Don't.
Well, okay.
I'm not telling you where it is.
When you have a family and you've spent your money to go somewhere and you're trying to show the kids a good time and it costs you time and money and you want to really show them a good time, what you do is take them to a burnt out forest. Isn't that fun?
Right.
Seriously.
But
so the manner of non-thinking, because they don't understand tourism or the topic, but have an equal say in the outcome, was very interesting. And Lisa's right. Some of the boards that we've met in the so-called tourism industry are made up of people who don't know anything about tourism.
But here's the thing. Okay, so the decision part, I want to go back because I wasn't done with this part. Okay, so you have people on there that maybe bring some light to other things. Maybe they're better in the finance world, and every organization needs good money people in there. But when you look at, okay, so here's 3/4 of this tourism board with 3/4 not being anything to do with tourism whatsoever, okay, then, but I do have to say, just tourism affects everybody as an economy in a positive way, but they're not specialists in it. The people that were in the tourism industry, this is their decision to allow these people to be on the board. So this is where these decisions can have this ripple effect. And I mean, this is still a battle, an ongoing battle that they're still recovering from because other things happen. Yeah.
All the time in chambers of commerce.
Yeah.
Folks just get on a committee and, I've been on this committee for 5 years and I think I know a little bit about mushroom tending.
No.
Well, I don't really think that the fact that you've made bad decisions for 5 years gives you a reason to make another one.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is not about time or tenure. It is about education.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what else it's about. Nothing.
Oh my gosh. But so it is the education part, and I just feel like there's the heavy procrastination and this I almost say laziness to not make things happen. That is really what bites people in the butt, even the ones in the chairs, the bums in the chairs. That it's this delaying thing. And do you think it's laziness or is it procrastination? Why don't people want to educate themselves?
Well, I think it's a combination of both of those and some other things too. There's the 80-20 rule, and that is that, of course, 20% of the people cause 80% of the problems, and 20% of the people solve 80% of those problems.
Okay, yeah. We're back to your rules. I like the rules. I like these rules. Because it takes the emotional part out of these issues. Like you need the 20-50-30 rule. See, it's the same thing. It's that 30% are the ones that are making the wrong decision.
And you got to say no.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other part. Yeah, because not everybody's not educating. I got to tell everybody, like, hey, I'm not trying to be rude about people. I'm just saying there's always those people we know about, who clog the brain.
The key is whoever appoints the committee has a tremendously important job, and most folks do it based on friendship and I've got to get this done, and let me go down the list and I'll pick all the C's and the J's and the D's and the B's. I mean, it's just
wow.
done in that kind of a haphazard manner more than anybody would like to admit. It really is. And that's for me, that's a marketing sin.
Yeah, and you're not having a strong foundation, so then it is a house of cards, whatever you're building, whatever your decision is about.
Doesn't
You've
matter
taken the,
how great the brickwork
Yeah.
is, if you don't have a solid foundation, you lose.
you can't. You have to have a good bass player and a good drummer in the
Right.
band. Otherwise, you have no
I don't know
foundation.
about the bass player, but you got to have the drummer.
You go. You know all about that. You can't hit the hi-hat if you're not good. You're not allowed. Well, it's the thing. You can't go for dessert if you don't start at the beginning. And I think that's the thing. It's decision making. You need to, if you're going to be working in a team in a company where there's a committee. To me it's like casting, a movie with the right characters and the right people acting in the play or the movie. You have to have the right characters. It's that correct team. So you have to make those decisions too when it comes to the committees and who you're working with, in your business. So yeah, it all starts in decisions.
Absolutely correct. And again, we have to understand that 30%, and that's an estimate, of all decisions don't need to be made. And almost nobody takes that into consideration when they're told to make a decision.
So they don't need to be made. So we're creating.
Well, let's just say, for example, my company has a logo. We've had it for 10 years, and it has been tremendously successful. And somebody from the art department comes up with a new logo and says, why don't we use this one? And I say, yeah, that's pretty. Let's use it.
But that could be disastrous because you now have to rebrand.
And it is happening more than we'd like to know, because most folks don't take their decision making seriously enough. It is a big deal.
I agree. It's something to chew on everything you do, especially in business.
We're just talking about thinking.
Yeah, that means I have to stand up.
You have to think. Maybe that's why some people are always pushing to change things over, and other people are never wanting to make a change because it requires thinking.
Well, there you go again. You're embarrassing people.
So now I know we're all going to be in trouble. When you talk about this in your article too, about to have a decision-making plan, that you really need to write this down. Whatever's going on, I remember doing it like the Benjamin Franklin thing, or that's a sales close, but that was kind of like the pros and the cons.
There's a famous quote: "Until you commit your goals to paper, you have intentions that are seeds without soil."
Yeah. That's true. It's really true. You've got to write it down. So typing it is not the same either. The handwritten thing is the deal. There's a psychological thing that brain. It's like that your brain is connected to your hand, and then it happens. And backwards.
Well, it also implies subliminally that you have ownership.
Oh, we're back to that conversation. Taking ownership of one's actions. And ownership, taking ownership, and that's part of it. Owning it, owning your decisions. So knowing that if I'm going to make this, then you're responsible for the good and the bad, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's your baby, and if you're going to make the decision and it's your call, then you own it. And if you don't own it, then you should never make the decision.
See?
That's true.
Yeah, because you don't want to be the fall guy for somebody else.
Again, the key is, and don't forget this word fear. It's real. And most folks have fear of some kind when it comes to making a decision. And, there's this acronym that goes along with fear, and it's false evidence appearing real. And most of that false evidence comes from emotions that are not backed up by any truth or facts.
We're back to the emotional side of it. So then basically when we're making emotional decisions, we're in our teenage mode. And then we need to change gears into the adult drive.
That's a great statement. I agree with that.
Yeah, because
I remember saying that now.
Take ownership, Ralph. Take ownership.
It's called stealing as well.
Well, you own that too. No, just kidding. But now, so when you're making this plan and you're looking, that's the other thing. I feel like fear when you're nervous about something. Sometimes it's just, do we really have to make this change? And you may really have to do it. And it's like, that is just, it's like, yeah, let's move to another, shop, and we really, because we're, too big and we're busting out, and we need to go upgrade to this bigger, store. And sometimes you just need to get rid of half of what's in your store that may not be selling. But the whole idea, and maybe you do need to go and it's a good thing, better, rates or rent or whatever, but you have to pack and you have to do it. And it's like, oh no, I have to move and brand and doing all that stuff. Yes. So there's that, oh no, and it's change. But that fear part, and in that decision making too of do I do it or not, when it's fear, it's like in the cloud and it's like in your face, because until you write it down, what you're scared of, it's like the boogeyman under your bed. He's under the bed, now he's in the closet. But if you write it down and stare him in the face and hug the monster, then you know who you're dealing with and you can go to war with fear.
Well, if you
know your enemy.
If you make a plan, then it's just not as scary as if you just jump into something without making a plan.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. and again, the other side of that, and you both already mentioned it, is to write it down.
Yes, that's it. Because to me, then it becomes a reality, and you can think clearly. Whenever we're going to do a change or make decisions, we sit down and, well, this is how we can do this plan. We can do that plan. We talk a lot. We talk a lot, and then we write things down.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I remember a friend.
Very wise.
Yeah, a friend of ours. We were making some changes with the digital magazines. We were embarking on this and this, and we want to do this and that. And we were on the tour, and she has a place out in Joshua Tree, and so we were staying out there, and we were like, let's do this. We could do that. No, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. So we went into the teenage mode. We do very well as teenagers together. And she turned around, she walks in, and she says, Nancy and Lisa, you each have your own room, and I suggest you both go to your rooms, write everything down, and then, and only then, can you come back out here and have a glass of wine, and we can discuss this. But only then, because she was like, I'm sick of it. Go to your rooms and write it down. And then all of a sudden, all the drama went away, and it was like, okay, now I have to have it like all clearly outlined, and otherwise, you don't get to finish your spiel when you come to the drawing board.
Well, again, I want to overstate this situation, if it's possible, and I don't know that it is, of fear. For example, myself right now, I have a basement which is, if I do say so myself, extremely well organized. Everything is in its place and everything is labeled and da-da-da. And all of a sudden, about 10 years ago, guess what I did? I ran out of space.
He needs a new shop.
So guess what I did for 10 years? I didn't do anything, which was making a huge decision. I am now in the process of redoing the entire basement, and I expect to get rid of somewhere between 60 and 70% of the items and files and folders in that basement.
Wow.
And guess what it will cost? It won't cost me a dime. I won't miss it at all.
No, that's true.
That's true. It's when we went on the road for, like 3 years, we had to figure out what, are we going to store things? What are we going to do? Give it away? Sell it? What do we want to keep? And then like the day we left, we forgot about all of it.
Yeah, and now and some of the stuff that we did, we got everything out of storage that we did keep, which wasn't much, because all of a sudden through that process, all of a sudden it was like, oh, put it in that pile. All of a sudden that pile got really, really big, because we're like, why are we holding on? Why are we holding on? And there's a fear thing. And I remember writing posts about this, like, how did I end up with all these pencils? What? Now, to this date, I have pens. I never have to buy a pen.
Basement. You have been in my basement.
Oh, you have the pencils too, huh? See, the pencils. I have the pens from staying in so many hotels.
Yeah.
Sorry, hoteliers. I'm your pen thief. But that's okay. But when we gave it all the way to people that were transitioning from being homeless into having their own place. And so it was getting jobs and that whole transition. So suddenly we're like, they're going to use this. Why keep something? Why are we holding on to that?
That can also be a trap, though. And it was a trap for me for a while, because I couldn't figure anybody to give certain things to. So guess what I did? I kept it. And now I throw it away.
Wow, that's it. Out it goes. Just that. And once you make the decision, all of a sudden we knew what we were doing, and we were like, we're heads down, get it done, move on. And it's true now, when we came back here, all the things that we thought, we cannot get rid of these books. They've been to Kenya, they've been to England, Mexico, they've been everywhere around the world with us. We sure couldn't do this. Nancy and I haven't looked at one thing from our past since we've been here, 2 years now?
Yeah.
Not one thing. I mean, there was like, oh, look, we have some photo albums. I have to tell you, so that's nice. What are you going to do, live in the past or the future or the present?
Well, I have a whole shelf, and I mean a shelf that goes 12 feet in the air, and it's about 10 to 12 feet long, and it has nothing on it but photograph albums. And you know where they are now?
Uh-oh.
I don't know either.
That's funny. This is it. And that's the thing in life, right? Those decisions, when you don't, they pile up. Those things in life will pile up on you and get heavy on your shoulders.
Yes. But I can attest to the fact that if you're not careful and you can't think of somebody to give, it could be a pretty good item to give it away or throw it away. And if you can't think of somebody to give it to within a day or so, then it gets given to the garbage can. That's rough, and it does get rid of some good stuff, but it has never been, just like you two have said, I have never missed it.
Yeah, see? Now, do you want to give out your street address so everybody knows where your garbage can is?
Well, and I will honestly tell you that we here in our city, you have to have a specific type garbage can. And simply, to be completely open and frank, I've got 3 of them.
Everybody, you got to go look for the 3 of them, okay? Just GPS, Mr. Change Agent in Tennessee, and you'll find him. He's the one with the really 3 massive garbage cans
full of photo albums.
But that's the truth, and that way I continue to not, and I'm going to use the word that's correct for me, hoard things.
Oh, the H word.
And I think that most of us, to some degree, have a capacity to want to keep things, and that's a nice way of saying I hoard.
No, but you're right, and it's because there is this fear of loss, and but when and then Nancy and I've been, we've lost things over the years. If you leave Africa, most of your stuff ain't coming with you.
No, but we did get a nice big crate.
Yeah,
with nothing in it.
I know. A lot of things were, take all the newspaper clippings Nancy was smuggling out got taken out.
Yeah, that was
by the custom people, but it's just really interesting. Once you learn that you can let go of things and you make that decision to let go of things, and because it's not just, it's a metaphor for, well, it's a reality, but it's a metaphor for in change in business. It's, that you hold on to everything and change. Boards won't change. Nonprofits don't want to change. You can keep your motto, you can keep your mission, but sometimes you have to make a change. You can't keep doing the same festival year after year in the exact same way, because maybe the location needs to change. It could be the people are bored with it because there's nothing new, the same band over and over again, or whatever. Sometimes you have to have change, and you have to go with what's going on in the world.
And, it's amazing to me, and certainly I was in the past guilty of this on many occasions, is when I would start a business or get into a new corporation, how many times would I spend, 35, 45 minutes setting up the mission statement and the vision statement. And that should have taken at least a week. They are not words, if used correctly. They are indeed the way to go. They are the general roadmap to what you want to get done if you've done it correctly.
Exactly. It's key, and those are the things you keep. And sometimes you want to, we're going to now do this and that. The letting go in business, I find interesting. Who's the guy with the Playboy, Hefner? Yeah?
Yes.
So his
Hugh
magazine.
Hefner.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner. So his daughter came in and worked for him in the magazine.
I've read about that magazine.
Have you heard about it? Sometimes, apparently, they have the best articles in there, Ralph. That's what I've heard.
Well, that's the reason I take it.
It's that important knowledge you can't get from National Geographic or
anywhere else.
Anywhere else. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I used to use National Geographic, but Playboy is so much better.
Well, his daughter came in and said he was doing these lavish parties every month, and it was the big Playboy thing, the blah blah blah. And she came in and she looked at how the business was operating, and they were going bankrupt. And the magazine world, you have to. That's why Nancy and I are always looking ahead, looking at the changes, and you've got it's you have to be addicted to it, and we are. I think we're kind of like, this is who we are. As much as it can drive us nuts at times, you have to live it, breathe it. This is who we are, and it's interesting.
Well, you two are. That's a whole lot of your success. You're both very wise ladies, but you know how to channel positive thinking.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's.
You do. You absolutely do.
If you don't channel
that before.
Well, thank you. It's about being very vision. You have to be vision forward. And her dad at this point wasn't. He was like, this is how we've always done it. We're having these parties. We're doing these things. And she saw exactly where they needed to cut the parties out and change the magazine up into this format over here. So they went back and forth. And she's like, we have to get rid of these parties. Your magazine would thrive. He's like, well, we always launch the magazine, each issue with these. She's like, you get rid of this, you have a thriving magazine. I think she was like above him in the corporation or something. So she did it.
Well, she ran it, and he let her because he could still have his parties.
Yes.
And she was.
But you know what? I'm talking about story. She saved Playboy. She absolutely saved Playboy. when she came in. I always thought that was such an interesting story, and I was like, of change, and especially in this kind of industry. But it was like, you expect change, it's digital versus print and all that. No, she was like, no, it's about how you're operating your business, and as much as it's cozy, that's the emotional versus, hardcore facts. This is
I
thinking.
took it for the articles.
See, there it is. We're back to that. Now, just make sure you don't get any paper cuts. That's the problem with print. No, see, this is why we do digital. We don't want any of our readers to get hurt.
That's right.
In the process. Good conversation, Ralph. I think it's so important, and I love this because it always reminds us to stay on our toes and to think. We all have that, and to every time we inform ourselves, we're getting younger.
That's right.
That's what I say.
Well, that's a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah. Then it's floating around with fear there. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like those little, it's the fear bubble. It's the goal bubble. It's just floating around under your bed, comes out, pops out whenever you don't want it to. The wish lingers there, but if you don't do anything and make something concrete, it ain't going to happen. But the boogeyman will get you in the middle of the night.
Right. Well,
so.
He's caught me a couple of times.
Oh man! But everybody,
I've got quicker later on in life. But one of the things that is interesting to me is this acronym I was telling you about, the false evidence appearing real in fear. Panic to any degree tends to exaggerate the truth or the facts.
Yeah,
and
exactly
fear
right.
can be a positive, but most fear we have is not positive. Of course, we don't want to go 100 miles an hour on a 2-lane road, but at the same time, the fear of reprisal by itself can stymie a business, a corporation, or anybody with a great mission or vision.
And that's so sad, because it takes so much energy to run a business and to start one. And when you have a dream or a vision, it is emotional. That is because you need that emotion and that passion.
You need the passion,
and that's that balance of passion and reality.
I think you hit the word right on the head when you said passion. It has to be there if you want to be great. You can be good at anything, but if you want to be great, you've got to have a passion for it.
That's right.
There are no great people that didn't have a passion for what they accomplished.
And I think you can't be scared all the time. You can't hesitate. You know, you can.
It's like Davy Crockett said one time: "Be sure you're right, and then go ahead."
See, yeah, and then you own it. We're going back to the ownership key of excellence,
yes,
then, because but it's true. It's about one of the quotes when we did the 8 Keys of Excellence segment with you and Sarah and Bobby the other day. We were talking about ownership, the 6th key of excellence. And we were talking about that. And one of the quotes, and I don't have it in front of me, but it was Holly Hunter, the actress. And she said when she takes a role, she researches it to the hilt. And it's part of what she loves about what she does as her craft and her art as an actor. And she says once she's researched it and she knows exactly what was going on, if it was a historical character, she knows what they were wearing and what the lay of the land was. She knows everything she can about it. That when she goes to her performance, she's in it, and she's I own it, and my fear goes away, and I'm just in it 100%. And there is no wondering if I'm acting right or wrong, because I've done my homework. I did my thing.
That's the key: is do your homework. And it's amazing how many people, I don't know why, will not do it thoroughly. They'll read an article. I've done it. I've done the homework. You need to read I'm making this number up, 10 articles.
Exactly. It's true. No, that's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
You can't because, and number one, here's the cool thing about the internet is you can see things from way back when to now. And you can see trends, you can see how things are changing, and sometimes, like you're saying, sometimes you keep the logo. You don't, you don't burn
Make
things
a
that people know.
decision.
Yeah.
We all know what happens to people who stay in the middle of the road. They get run over.
Wow.
This is true.
That's it. That's
right.
why roadrunners go on the side and go neat, neat.
They're like,
now,
keep up with me.
Don't get technical on me. Don't get technical.
Oh man, I know from Playboy buddies to roadrunners and neat meats. This is really.
I don't know if anybody else is enjoying this, but I'm having a ball. I think this is great.
Always a good conversation. I do want to tell everybody again, Ralph's article, Decision Making During a Time of Change, is up on blendradioandtv.com. You can just go to our expert department and you'll see Ralph there, and you can click on him. He'll wink at you, and then you'll get to see his articles and listen to his past interviews. But also, it'll be featured in the summer issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. The best thing, though, is to go get his book, Conquer, Change, and Win, an easy-to-read, fun book on the serious subject of change, and you can go to conquerchangeandwin.com for that. He's also on Facebook and Twitter, so connect with him there. I love following you on Twitter, Ralph. You always have such wise quotes and sayings to keep us on our toes. Like I said, all these conversations with you always reminds us about where's our head at? It's Monday morning. Are you just doing the due diligence, or are you thinking about what you're doing with the due diligence?
Well,
so,
I think the world is great, but we have to do our part.
That's right.
If we want to be a member of a positive, successful group, we have to do our part.
Exactly. It's true. You got to take ownership, man.
Well, you got to know why you want to be on the board.
That's true.
Because there's the self-interest part. We've seen boards where the members are there out of fear for their own setup or their own business. Got to make sure that this happens good for my business,
for my pocketbook.
Yeah, for my
all about me,
and all about me, and not the whole community.
Oh, and the title: I am the chairman of the board.
Self-serving is something we see all the time, and the thing to do is, as you have alluded to and spoken about correctly, in my opinion, is the whole point is to begin with quality, and that is begin with quality people that are qualified to be on this committee or board or whatever it is. But, a thoroughbred racehorse is a camel put together by a committee.
We won't. I'm not going to say what I have to say, but it's Hump Day, everybody. Happy Hump Day. That's what I was saying. Happy Hump Day. Oh, Ralph, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, don't forget, everyone, Big Blend Radio airs through Blog Talk Radio Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Friday and Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see everything, if you go to bigblendradio.com. You can listen to everything there, too. And, Ralph, we always love to play music for you. So today's song for you, are you ready for this one? I think you're going to know this song. This one is called Ain't Nobody's Business.
Well, I've gotten that message. Thank you.
So here it is, everyone. This is Ain't Nobody's Business, a classic blues and jazz song. And this is performed by Allison August. It's on her latest album called Holy Water, just because Ralph is up in Shine Country. But it's Allison August with 2 L's. That's right. Yeah, you guys were on the same World Radio Party together, you and Allison. She was running around in Greece, and you were on your way to Colombia. So this song, and in the moral of the story is that ain't nobody's business. Oh, my gosh. Thanks so much, Ralph. You take care.
Okay, thank you, and have a great rest of the day.
You too. Here it is, everybody. Ain't Nobody's Business from Allison August. You can go to AllisonAugust.com.
If I should take a notion to dive into the ocean, ain't nobody's business if I do. If I go to church on Sunday, then